Okay, so basically, more fun on the Twitter got me thinking. What really got me about Mass Effect, besides how much it face planted at the end, is they made the overall governing body like ridiculously level incompetent without having sleeper agents totally frack them over. That's the reason why in Uplift Protocol the sleeper agents are part of the MacGuffin that helps to try to slow down the progress. But of course, I decided to put in a kind of resistance angle on all fronts on all these elder races to where they realize that the unity shit is trying to mess up the universe, but since they're still in cold war status with all these other heavy hitters, it's like a tit for tat back and forth trying to undermine each other, which is why I showcase during some adventures where it's like Sister Nyx is trying to plant some ridiculously horrible things throughout the galaxy that are going to sleep until it gets the wake up call. The good guys are trying to counterbalance that with like putting stuff in place that'll warn them when that happens. So some of these colonies are kind of just like initial early warning outposts. They're fairly well defended, but I wanted to take a line from what happened in Babylon 5 and Londo's stuff, where they kept a bunch of Centauri on the island to make the Shadows think that it was still inhabited and that nothing was wrong, everything was normal. A lot of these people sign up knowing that A or B could happen. They either survive and get to go home, or might have to sacrifice themselves later. But since my setting is more uplifting, obviously when the balloon goes up, a lot of these places will get evac'd properly. And then a handful that don't, well, that's going to be like an action set piece to where you get to see the heroes come in and save the day and that sort of thing. Honestly, yeah, Uplift Protocol is very much my answer to what went wrong with the Mass Effect series as well. Because if you're going to create like overwhelming cosmic odds, you have to make sure you plant enough stuff around to where the good guys can utilize that to KO the big bad, the big mind-boggling multi-universal kind of thing that could just decimate people if it wanted to. But even Unity, at the heart of Unity, it's an ideological thing. But you don't have to literally lay out the carpet for everything. You can keep some stuff unfathomable or unknowable, or just let the reader make up their mind about it. That's the reason why they really should have built this trilogy from the ground up as a trilogy. I would say honestly, Mass Effect 1 probably has the better story beats. It actually has an uplifting ending, and you're left with a Shepard that's going off to try to solve some of the problems. Of course, then the way 2 and 3 are made, it's just like, oh boy. The overall arc of 1 was very well built. The overall arc of 2 and 3 basically caved in on itself. Sure, did it have more bells and whistles? Yeah. And it had more character stuff? Yeah. But you can't just build stuff up on character moments. You gotta make sure that that overall spine of the main story will be able to play out properly. Oh boy. Because honestly, if you have characters that are fighting an existential threat like that, they're all not going to be blind. Now, the ones that are subsumed by, the influence of evil, like House Kyphoskera, yeah, they're going to be a thorn in the side of the Typherian section. But the way I'm going to end season 2, you'll see that even Typha will have a fair amount of hope, even those that are, stuck with this sleeper issue, which Typha's sleeper issue is a little bit different from everybody else's because Set took personal interest in that particular world. Because with the lore that I've built up, Typha is on a central line that exists throughout the whole multiverse. So that's the reason why the throne matrix is there. You know, it's just simple little things. You just have to make sure you don't have to go overboard with the world building. You just have to have a couple of central pillars that everything else can kind of glean outwards from. You know, that way it's easier to tie stuff back to those central pillars. And this is just stuff that I'm learning as I go around with writing and everything. You just have to make that make sense for that particular setting. And if you've read to the end of season 1, you'll see how some of the Amarche stuff plays out, at least a little bit. You don't have the full context for it yet, because most of that is going to come in with book 12, because you'll finally get to see all the kind of like revolving setup around Eliza, because Eliza herself is a convergence point in a different way from her brother. And you'll see what he'll have to do in the end as well. That's the reason why there's some aspects that I'm even adding it to book 4, where it's just like, you know what, I better introduce this now, so that way there's a setup and payoff for it later. And as you keep writing, you'll just learn like where, through osmosis, and just keep writing, you'll learn to place things, and it's fine. Your foreshadowing doesn't have to be like super duper subtle. It just has to be put in there. You can go back later and like, you know, basically add more little details to the cake if you want to, but get the bones of it out. Yeah, and no matter how much evidence Shepard had shown to the council, they're still like, they keep rebooting back to, oh well, Shepard solved that particular problem in the other game, we don't have to worry about it now, or they lessened it, or it was like a delaying factor. And even the humans had this set up to where it's just like, oh, we don't really have to worry about this now. And it's just like, so with Uplift Protocol, I wanted a lot of the elder races to be more proactive. I wanted a lot of the younger races to be more proactive. But right now, since it's still in the Cold War status, you don't see as much of that playing out on screen unless I want to highlight something, like the Javelin fleet. But most people don't realize that it can warp through just regular FTL and weave space on top of that. And through just little build up here and there, I'm showcasing like different levels to the weave. It's all playing up to that very big ending of book 12. That's kind of all you really need. Like, if you have a worthwhile end goal, you can still think up stuff to put in the middle. Just make sure a lot of the threads tie back to the main overall goal, or the main themes, or the main storyline of your series, or the main ending. Sure, like, my ending is pretty much set there, like what I want to do, but what will also develop over time is like, okay, what other things do I want to see in the epilogue? Because I know like a big majority of my beef with Mass Effect series is the epilogue was tepid at best. And people, I even remember being on the BioWare forums and like asking them, here, why don't you just do the bare minimum and give us like slide scenes, something. But it would have been better if they had done a little bit more than that and showcased the big question that was on a lot of people's minds, like, hey, just like with the end of Mass Effect 1, show Shepard emerging from the rubble. Some basic PC mods had to put that in for Mass Effect 3. It's like, come on, guys. The titular character rising from the rubble. You nailed it in Mass Effect 1. Why couldn't you have copied it for Mass Effect 3? What, wanted too much of your nihilistic, downer ending? Because everybody's in love with those nowadays. I'm sick and tired of them. So, again, Uplift Protocol is my answer to everything that disappointed me in the Mass Effect trilogy. Have a good day, everybody.